moment, but it'll pop it right into gear. It's amazing.
Welcome to Riding with AMAP, except now I'm right at track. I am so excited. This is one of the coolest things I've ever done. My buddy Brandon invited me to go where he is. He's back right now. He's on that Triumph, and that's what he's talking about. I'm talking to our friend John, who we met, and this was his first track day ever. This is my first track day ever. And Brandon reminded me to only go about 2 laps before we really start getting into this to get our tires warm. So I reminded John at the same time, and off we go. So during these warm-up laps, we're not going to have a whole lot of excitement going on. So I thought I'd give you a tutorial about what we did and how this works. So with this association that we were with, your first track day is free. And you just have to have a bike that passes inspection, and you have to have leathers, and there's some other things. If you're going to have a GoPro, which I do have, thanks to my son giving me one for Christmas, I've got, the cameras cannot be on your helmet. You have to have them tethered to your bike. So I've got one on the handlebars, and then one on the grab bars on the back. And the Triumph doesn't have a grab bar, so it's a good thing we have this Yamaha. I'm on Brandon's FZ1, and it is awesome. I can't remember what year. It's the first year of the remake model, but it's got about 40,000 miles on it, and it is awesome. 1,000 cc's, whereas Brandon's on Triumph, it's pretty new, and he's got a 675. So he actually let me ride that, the crazy guy. It's amazing. He talked about the quick shift, where you don't have to use the clutch as long as you're accelerating, it'll shift it up for you. It's so cool. But this track, welcome to Birmingham, Alabama. We're at Barber, and this racetrack was so cool. It's like somebody took a golf course, and that's just amazing, and put a track on it, and it was so neat. They got a motorcycle museum, which we just passed a little bit ago, and we went to there on the day before, and they have all kinds. It's the largest motorcycle museum in the world. So highly recommend you going down there and giving it a tour for only like $15. So crazy. But the track itself is a little more than 2 miles, and obviously you can see we're going left and right and up and down. But the way this track days work is there's 3 different categories. You can be a advanced, intermediate, or a novice. And if you've never done a track day before, you're put in the novice class. Brandon has done many track days, and so I kept urging him to go do something else, but he was like, no, it's fine, I want to be with you. And he's still getting used to the Triumph, so he ended up coming down with me, but it worked out really well. There were 2 other guys that were brand new to track days, and there's also the kid in front of me. He was like, he might have been like 17 at most. He was a really young kid, but he's riding a Yamaha like R6, and we were just having a ball. But this is like the afternoon session. I'm not showing you the first sessions because we go really slow and you have to follow a leader. And right there is an example. The guys in the orange jerseys are coaches, and so when you come in, you're set up in groups, and I was in group 7 because we were all the newbies, never been to that track before, never had a track day before, so we had to follow our coach, and we couldn't pass or anything. And so now these coaches, they know what's going on, and so they might have tire warmers on and stuff, so they start passing before that second lap. And but I'm still on my second hot lap, still trying to get my tires all warmed up, just regular street tires. I don't have racing tires. Here we go, there's the museum on the left, and Brandon's dragging behind me. So it's really nice. I end up making a pass right here. I passed that young kid, and then we start you start filling the groove. And again, this is after I'd been on the track for 5 sessions already, and each session is 20 minutes. The intermediate riders go at top of the hour. The advanced riders go at 20 minutes after the hour, and then the novice group goes at 20 minutes to the hour. And every hour, except for an hour lunch break, every hour that's how it works until 5 o'clock. So we have just a ball. You end up getting 7 sessions in. And again, that guy in front of me there, he's a coach in the orange jerseys. So in the first few sessions, you have to follow your coach, and they're keeping track, and they don't let you pass. And then after a while, when they get a good look at you and see how you're doing, we did kind of get loose and get going. But in the novice class, they don't allow us to pass on the left. And so there's my second hot lap, or second warm-up lap. So here we go. Brandon's making a pass, and we are going to start flying. So I'm putting up the times there, just based upon the camera times. And Brandon's on his Triumph, and it's funny because from behind, I always thought he had a blue bike. He has a white bike, but we have to tape off our mirrors and tape off our lights. Coach gives me a pass because I passed him on the straight. He dropped in like that. So here we go, and back straightaway, we can get up to 100 miles an hour or more on this one when you're really hitting it. And this is a really hard left-hand turn. It's a lot of fun. They call it the Widow, or Charlotte's Web. There's a big statue of the spider. Lots of statues of Barber. It's really interesting. Tons of artwork everywhere you go. And we're getting ready to come up on the bridge. There's John. Hey, John. Bye, John. John is on an SV650, which I used to have. Right there on the bridge, there's a mannequin hanging underneath there. So there's all kinds of weird stuff on the, like a women mannequin with long hair, and she's hanging on. But we just end up getting going and just having a ball. And here in a minute, this is after I started feeling really comfortable. The first few sessions that you go out, the track seems really fast. You know, when you're hitting the first time you're going, it's only you're barely hitting 60 with the coach. Here comes another coach off my left, and then after a while, everything starts slowing down for you. And this is where, after some coaching sessions and some body positioning and stuff. Okay, that guy on the left, he's a coach and he's exiting. He's got his hand up. Then there's another coach behind me. You can see his hand up. That means that he's going to take a pit. We're coming up on the pit right here. The exit to the pits on the left. But with no passing on the inside, you have to keep a 6-foot radius all the way around you. On these track days, you're not out there being scouted by MotoGP, as the main guy told us. But here comes Brandon. Now watch this. I have more CC, so on the straights, I can get it. So here he comes. I'm getting ready to make the pass, and look at that! I had to hit 125 miles an hour to do it. Holy smokes, really fast. Then you have to brake hard. You got a little chicane coming up in here, and then right back into turn 2, long sweeper, and it's just so fun. This bike that I'm riding is more built for the street. Still has curb, like peg touchers and stuff. So Brandon can exit the corners a lot faster than me. So here he comes. He has a lot harder lean angle, and whoa, he's gone. And then I didn't want to pass this person with this thing coming up, and Brandon just gets a big lead on me now. Brandon said that this was the funnest track day, one of the funnest he's ever done, because he and I were back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Another coach passing me on the right, and it's just a hoot. I mean, you just get in this little chicane here, and some of the guys will jump this right here. They'll take on that apex and just go around it. This is also where the Porsches do their Porsche experience. If you want to pay a whole bunch of money, they'll give you a 911 for the day, and I'll go on the track. So not all of those tire marks that you're seeing are from bikes, but just a hoot, just a ton of fun. I highly recommend it if you ever get a chance to go. It's a blast. This is a fairly long video, of course, because I'm going to show you the whole 20-minute session. But one thing I've noticed as I've been editing and watching this is that I don't run the revs up nearly as high as Brandon does. And my fastest lap is when I actually got where I couldn't even get the bike into 6th gear. And you'll hear it a few times. I go to make a shift and it won't go. And later on I figured out that my boot was I wasn't letting the shifter down far enough. And so I have some pretty crummy shifts and things like that. But I found later that, I mean, when you're flying down here, I hardly ever notice the speed. They train you to say only keep your eyes forward. you know, you don't have any mirrors, they're all taped off, or you don't have them. They want you to remove them or tape them off. So it's really weird when you're out there, at least for me, being my first time on the track, because you feel really alone, and I had no idea that people were right on my tail. Sometimes, as I've been editing the videos, I've noticed that I mean, like right now, I feel like there's nobody there. I know that there's these two guys in front of me, and there's two guys that are pretty close to me, and they're going to catch me probably, but I'm just like, I had no idea that they're even there. So sometimes you get so in the zone and you're really concentrating, all of a sudden somebody flies by you, and it almost startles you. So it's very interesting. I never realized how much I rely on my mirrors when I'm riding on the street, when I'm riding with friends. I'm always looking at my mirrors. But these Kawasaki guys, man, they are fast. They have some K100 or K1000s, I think what they're called, but they would zoom. That's another bike that I'm like, maybe I should keep an eye on that one. But they flew. Here comes another one right here. This Kawasaki, man, they are fast. And I'm hoping that they know how to brake really well, because they're coming, you know, I'm doing like almost 90, and they're just zooming past me like I'm standing still. But it's a really neat feeling. There was one point in the third session that I got out in front of everybody when it was the first time that our coach let us pass. And what he does is he points at you and he gives you the pass, and you can shake your head and say, no, I'll stay behind you, or you can go ahead and pass. But I was the first one in the group, so when I got the point to pass, I was out there leading the group, and it was the first time that that's when I realized that I really use my mirrors all the time when I'm riding in a group, and I couldn't do it, and so it felt so bizarre just to be out here on your own. But again, here's my time on the third lap, and the times are getting faster. I dropped it by another. Every lap I got faster and faster and faster until the last lap. I actually didn't go as fast, and if I go and do this again, I would love to go and do this again, but when I do, I'm going to try to stay a lot higher in the revs. And Brandon told me, he's like, you know, this bike that you're riding, if you keep it above 7 grand, it just screams. It really comes alive. And I've just never been that way when I ride bikes. I always want to keep it low. I always feel like I'm going to hurt the engine when I rev it that high, so I didn't even really come close to the red line. There goes another coach. And but I found that I had much quicker lap times after watching the video when I kept my revs a lot higher. So, little tip for the future if I end up doing this. But again, you're never looking at your speedometer. You're always focused on the track. You're focused on what's going on. You know, when you're going to brake, you're looking for those braking points. You're looking for those signs. You're trying to look for flags. There's just so much going on. In your first 2 or 3 sessions, everything's just really overwhelming. But after the 4th session, that's when I started feeling a lot more comfortable. You know, even though my times were getting faster, but everything started to slow down, because all of a sudden you start to know the track better, and everything just gets really, really fun. It gets so fun. I mean, it's always fun to begin with, but you know, the first session we don't barely hit 60 miles an hour, and then the second session he took us on the straights and we hit like 75, and then in the next session, the third session, we're still just following the leader for the first few laps, and he took us up to 80, and then that's when he go ahead and gave us the point to pass, and that's when I hit triple digits for the first time. So this is after lunch, and after I'm feeling a lot more comfortable and things are just starting to click after the body positioning, I realize I need to extend my outer elbow more and get lower on the tank like Brandon is. You can see him in front of us here, and this is, like I said, I knew that feeling of he has no idea that where I am, and the whole time when I'm on this back stretch with him, I'm thinking I want to get up there, I want to let him know that I'm here. And so right here I'm like, no, I'm not going to make this pass, but if I get closer, you know, I want to let him know that I'm here. And so I kind of studied and just played and just got, you know, he just zoomed right out of the corner so much faster than me. And then I could kind of reel him in when we get to the next corners. And then I have to brake hard, and you can actually hear the foot pegs will drag, and you can hear it a few times if you listen carefully. But I tried not to drag the foot pegs. If I wanted to lean my body more, our coach, his name's Patrick, and he was like, the bike will turn a whole lot more. And I said, yeah, I know, I just need to get it to do that. And he says, you got to get your upper body right. So right there, that's the spot where I always catch Brandon. So I was like, I'm going to get him on the next lap. If I can stay with him, that's where I can probably make the pass. If I don't get him on the straights, I can probably get him on that spot right there. So that's what I was thinking at this point. It's just so fun. But again, I'm thinking he has no idea I'm here, and so I want him to know. I want him to know that I'm hanging with him, and that I'm right there. And so, and later on after this session, he and I were just giggling and laughing, like just having something. He was like, that was so fun when you and I just passed each other back and forth, and that hasn't happened quite yet, but it'll get there. That's when my lap time starts coming down and I really start to catch up on him. Right there, that's when I couldn't get into 6th gear, and it happens again on the back straight too. But this corner one, there was one time I made a pass, and I passed a whole bunch of groups, and I was just flying, and my dirt skills really helped in this situation, because I ended up gearing down and hitting the brakes hard, and my back tire chirps and squeaks and rattles back and forth, and I'm all on that front tire. But it didn't unsettle me too badly, because I have dirt experience. And when you don't get a lot of grip on your rear tire a lot of times in the dirt, and so it didn't freak me out too bad. There was a couple times, there was only 2 times that I was like, oh, fucker moment, but and it was, of course, when you're coming too hot into a corner. And it's so neat how you can get so in tune with the bike. I mean, I've never heard my brakes before, and I never hit triple digits out on the street either, but when I go into the corners, you can just hear your brakes go shh, you can just hear them squeeze, and it's just so neat to be that in tune with what's going on. But like I said, here comes, I'm thinking correctly, this is the lap where I can catch up to him, because I figured out, again, I started to feel out the track a little better, and after I come past that museum, I figured out I didn't have to lift off. There was a few times where I would throttle out, and here we go, wow, see you, Brandon. Now, of course, that's one of the first times that I passed him in a long time, so he's like, holy cow, that was Brian. And then now, of course, he's in the chase mode, and the second guy is always going to be faster, it feels like, because you can kind of study and learn from that first person, and what they're doing, or you say, up here he comes. Like I said, he can corner on the outside really quickly. And he gets that knee down. He's actually drug his puck before several times, and I never got to that point. And I told him, that's not my goal, but here he goes, boom. Now you got me on the straight. But again, look at my reps. I'm like down at 7 grand, where he's probably pushing 10. So I need to, if I can get that up there and keep it higher, then I can stay up. And of course, figuring out when to brake, it's those who can brake and those who can turn. Those are the guys who are going to win races. Straights don't win races. But the guys that can turn, and the guys who, here's where I'm like, okay, I don't let off, watch the speedometer, I keep climbing. In laps in the past, I've lifted off right there, because that's kind of a blind corner. So you're coming up high, the elevation change, and then here I come, we're going to pass a girl. I kind of was iffy on that pass. I kind of was an inside pass, but she was the only girl on the track that day, and I lapped her a few times. I always felt good to pass people twice, and of course you realize it was her because she has the long hair, so she's kind of an easy one to spot. But so this is another spot. I'm like, okay, Brandon, he got me on that straight. Now I'm thinking I want to get him again. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's so fun to just pass back and forth and see your buddies out there. And we made some great friends. Rodney was a guy that we met, and he's on a Kawasaki, and then John was on that SV650. I'm going to put up some other videos of me with them. But now we got the white flag, so they're telling us the checkered flag. When you see the checkered flag come out, you got to slow down. So there's my lap times. My best lap was that 5th lap, 2 minutes and 1 second. I was so excited. When I was doing this video, I had no idea that I was that fast when I was out there on the track. I did have an app that I was using, and it told me that I hit 122 miles an hour on the GPS. You know, it says 125 on the speedo, but you know, which one you're going to believe? Probably the GPS is a little more accurate. But the last lap, you're supposed to power down about 80%. Then we go into the pits here, and we always give a high five or a salute to the pit worker there, or the corner workers. The corner workers are great people that we're grateful for their help, because without them we couldn't make this happen. Luckily, on the whole day, we only saw one red flag. That means there was debris on the track. There was a few times where people went off. I did see a few yellows, but it was just so neat. We had such a great time. And you think, oh, 20 minutes, that's nothing. Actually, it's plenty. But after 20 minutes, you know, you're ready to go and take a break, because it's just the concentration and the effort and the stuff, and then you sit there and process and feel like, okay, what do I need to do better next time, or things like that. It was so great. I just loved it. This is kind of a view of the pits with everybody. We were on a Monday, so it wasn't that crowded. So thanks for watching, and I'm going to be putting up some more videos so Rodney and John can watch themselves really well. Rodney gets behind me, and I'm going to film him, and I follow. I'm pretty sure I followed John for quite some time, so I'll get him out there. And then I've also got another one where I'm on the Triumph, and Brandon's riding the FZ1, so I'll be putting that up there. And it's great to be out on the two wheels again, and having a great time and doing something different. It's such a bucket list day to be able to go out and ride on the track, and just everybody was safe and didn't break anything, and it was just so fun. So thanks for watching.